Thank you guys so much for being here. My name is Sammy, and I am the Director of Customer Experience at Jockey. So for those of you not familiar with Jockey, we are a third-generation family-owned business, and we've been around for over 140 years. For those of you who do know us, we're most frequently recognized as an underwear and t-shirt brand. But one of my favorite things about Jockey is that we have a real rich history in innovation, and we're really passionate today about innovation still. And in my role, basically innovation means I'm trying to find new ways to improve the customer's experience with our brand digitally. And as you can probably imagine, a lot of that focuses on email. So a couple of years ago at Jockey, we were trying to take our email program to the next level, and I'm sure that's kind of where you guys are today. And we're finding ourselves building a ton of segments and testing subject lines and using all the journey models within our UI, but we kept feeling like we were being held back. And we recognized that we were using traditional data sets and decision-making tactics to build our email program. And we knew that that was just a problem, and that was not going to help us grow. So as Faiz kind of talked about this morning, in this era of retail e-commerce, we need to be willing to really question how we operate as marketers and really question those decision-making tactics that we've been using for a long time. And I think he kind of said it really well. It's more important than ever that we really consider and evaluate whether the technology that we've been using for decades is both meeting our needs as businesses, but also is it really helping us improve the experience for our customer with our brand. Customers today, they have access to a ton of retailers, online and in store. And we can't simply use that traditional data that we've been using to build our digital experiences anymore. We are getting hundreds and hundreds of signals every day from our customer when they come onto our site, even if they don't buy, if they look at a product or browse or search or add something to their cart and leave it behind. And we need to be able to identify those signals, understand those signals, and then respond to those signals if we really want to create the individualized experience that we're all trying to achieve. And that's simply not possible without proper technology in place. It's just too much work. And I think that is also why a lot of marketers and business leaders are finding that their existing technology also no longer stacks up, because a lot of those programs and legacy systems also were never made to be able to understand, process, and respond to the signals that we're getting today. So when we began at Jockey to evaluate our email technology stack, we identified some really clear and obvious gaps within the way that we were operating a few years ago. First, I think a lot of people, when they start with Bluecore, and where we were at that time, is we started with just these trigger-based campaigns. And we saw how valuable and how successful they were, but we had a large chunk of our emails going out through another ESP. So we were having a really hard time getting that whole view of the customer as it relates to email. And because of that, we could only optimize to a certain extent. And we knew that was a problem. Second, I kind of alluded to this a little bit before. We were using a lot of traditional retail segmentation strategies. For example, we would look at data like customers who have bought in the last year are active, and customers who have bought beyond that, they're no longer active. And we were realizing, because of the data that we were getting through the Bluecore platform, that was way too broad, and that was making a lot of assumptions about the customer that were just not accurate. And similarly, when it came to product launches or even just product nurture type of campaigns, what we were finding is that existing segmentation strategies were very subjective, because we were looking at things like, we have a new product and it happens to fall within the activewear category. So we're gonna send this to everyone who's ever bought activewear. But what that was failing to recognize is that there's people who are looking at activewear but haven't bought yet. Or perhaps sleepwear is a really common entry point into purchasing activewear. And so we needed a better way to account for this type of behavior. And also, what we were finding is that a lot of the ESPs out there, while they were improving the UI of their platform, the technology wasn't changing. And because the technology wasn't changing, it wasn't able to support our emerging needs or the emerging needs of other retailers. So when we decided, after we evaluated, we decided we really needed to pursue this consolidation into the Bluecore platform. And so when we did that, we decided to just start small. So really, we started with a simple product campaign. When we looked at it, we built it within the affinity audiences within the Bluecore platform and sent it out that way, as opposed to building a traditional segment. And the ROI on that campaign was significantly higher than what we had seen with our traditional batched campaigns or batched segments. And so when we saw that, we decided, let's also test a promotional campaign, something that's larger volume, higher scale. Can we get the same results? And we did. So we then tested a bunch of different campaigns because it became important for us to see, okay, we can generate the ROI, but can Bluecore support all of our needs and run all of our campaigns? And I think really the results that we've seen kind of speak for themselves. So in Q2 alone this year, we deployed over 1 million trigger-based campaigns, in addition to all of our standard batch type of campaigns. We are now 100% personalized, so whether that's through audience affinities or the products shown in an email, each one of our sends is somehow personalized for the customer. And then we've also seen a 45% increase in email revenue year over year in Q2 alone. But I think for me, what's really exciting is outside of these stats, Bluecore, the platform and the data and the technology is so powerful that its use has now extended beyond just email. So for us, we use Bluecore to influence how we stock our warehouses because we are able to identify what products help sell other products and what products are likely to be a hot item for the season. And we also use Bluecore to build audiences that can also influence and power our direct mail campaigns. And I think that is really, really powerful. So for you guys, if you're kind of at the spot where you are considering consolidation or you're almost there and you're just not sure where to start, here were a few things that I thought I'd share that were really helpful for us. As I previously mentioned, we really started small and we operated with a proof of concept model rather than a traditional request because we wanted to be able to see the real results. And because we were already up and running on the Bluecore platform, we could really quickly just test a few campaigns and get real data. Then I think something that really changed for us when we pursued our consolidation was identifying goals and really thinking differently about what your goals might be if you're trying to consolidate. Because typically when we had done evaluations of our technology in the past, we had a really long feature checklist. What did the journey builder look like? How do you segment? How quickly could you run an analysis or a report of a segment? And when we decided to consolidate with Bluecore, it became much simpler. We wanted to be able to really individualize the customer experience, so improve the customer's experience, drive more revenue with less work. Because we were also really honest with ourselves, like all these features are great, but if you don't have the time or the bandwidth to put into making them work, you're really not doing yourselves any favors. So thinking differently about our goals really helped us focus. Then a third thing that we did after we had tested some of those campaigns is we modeled out what might the revenue look like over time. So we test 10 campaigns. Well, we modeled out what does this look like in a year from now? And that gave us a lot more confidence about consolidating into Bluecore. And then I think for those of you who are already working with Bluecore, you probably already have an understanding, and we did, of what that relationship looks like. But I think leveraging the support of the Bluecore team to help you figure out how could we use audiences to build new campaigns or drive our strategies, because they're the experts. They know how the technology works, and they can really help you take your program to the next level. And also, Bluecore obviously has the way it is set up is to be a shared success model. So that also gave us a lot of confidence in partnering with them further. And then last, securing internal buy-in. And my leader is here, so I will speak positively, obviously. But no, I'm very, very lucky because at Jockey, as I mentioned earlier, we have a real history and passion for innovation, and that really comes from the top down. And our leadership is super, super innovative and passionate about finding new ways to do what we've been doing for a long time. So for me, I think securing internal buy-in might have been a little bit easier than it is, I know, at other places. But what I can tell you is it did give my leadership confidence and gave me confidence in being able to share real results. So I think that's part of the challenge with traditional ESPs is you can pitch your leadership on a program that looks really good, but it's different when you're able to actually show real results. And that was what we were able to do. And I think that it was really helpful when you're thinking about consolidating into Bluecore or really any ESP. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to the Bluecore team, and we are going to do some discussions at the tables. So thank you, guys.